What if one platform covered everything from idea to market-ready product? A platform teaching all the AI tech and practices needed for successful AI-driven startups.
This is like AI imagination.
We found that the more specific we are.
We used a classifier, we trained a classifier.
I really wanted it to just be more open-ended for the user.
We were experimenting with different chunk sizes.
Having some problems to something.
By blending cutting-edge technologies from industry giants, you can create revolutionary AI products that drive innovation forward.
This was a special hack, it was a battle.
Let the hacking begin.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of What's Next, the interview session where we have interviews with some startups, either who participated in our hackathons or startups that are in our accelerator program called lablabNEXT. My name is Jonathan, and today I will be your host and not Jay as usual. And with me, I have my colleagues, Roxana and Savyenya. Before we dive deeper into all of that, I wanted to run you through what lablabNEXT is, just to give you all some background on why we are doing this interview. So lablabNEXT is our digital accelerator program where we help startups to take their prototype to MVP and beyond, and it is for our global top AI startups. Let's see if I can get control of this as well. Yeah. So what is lablabNEXT? It is a 6-week program, digital, as I said, where we help you to take your startup either from prototype to MVP, or if you're late MVP, then MVP and beyond. This program, it is a non-equity program with no cost. The only thing is that we reserve the right to invest when it's time. So you can see it as a soft commitment from our side when you go out for future rounds. And why should you join lablabNEXT? Well, to start with, we have the support that we give you with the customized guidance and resources for your startup. We have our beloved lablab.ai hackathon community with more than 160,000 members now, where we help you to utilize that to help you in your journey, if it's to find members or testers or just get engaged with the like-minded. We also have our mentorship program with over 70 seasonal professional industry experts for your service. And these mentors, they are focused on business, like everything regarding business, to tech, like the deepest geeky tech questions you might have. And we also have perks and deals, of course, because it's not easy as a startup to kind of get the money go around, because it's hard to generate revenue in the beginning. So we give you access to the latest AI technologies, tech stack, and credits that our partners provide to you. So who should apply to this program? Well, first of all, just like we have in the .ai hackathon community, you need to base your product on generative AI technology. You must also be either prototype or MVP stage. And then also, what is one of the most important things I want to say is a dedicated team of at least 2 to 5 members, because it is an incredible hard journey to do by yourself. And having a team with diverse skill sets and you can all complement each other is going to help you so much. Some of the partners we have, you can see here, and we're trying to be really proactive with our partners and work with our community of startups to find the best ones. And we are still growing in these numbers and partner logos you see here on the screen. Some alumni we have is Agile Loop. And as I said before, this is a team I love. They built their action model, and we hosted a hackathon with them a few weeks or a few months ago now. And they managed to raise 500K pre-seed. And they also signed a $3 million USD LOI. And another one is New Locus, who also signed a 100K USD contract. And they also managed to get on the 6th place on Product Hunt, doing really cool stuff when it comes to interior design. I know it myself, like I'm still struggling with populating all the empty rooms I have. So for anyone who find any of this interesting, our applications are open for cohort 2. It starts in October, and at the moment we are in cohort 1 with some of the teams that we will meet here today. And if you want to find more information, you go to lablab.ai/next. And for any mentor or potential mentor who might be watching, you can also apply as a mentor through there. Now, let's take it away with the interview. I want to introduce the newest members of the lablabNEXT team on the backside, which is Roxana. Want to say hi?
Hello.
And we also have Soyenya. Want to say hi? Yeah, so I am going to leave over the mic to you guys to take this away.
Cool, thank you. So I'll just do a quick intro to Smabler. So we have Aga and Luke. And Smabler is working towards solving the key bottleneck in many ML and AI applications, which is obtaining high-quality labeled or training data. And the solution that they're offering is a RAG-based application called Galaxia. Is that correct?
It's perfectly correct.
Yes, we've been talking back and forth quite a bit about Galaxia and the solutions that it offers. And I think it's very cool. It's really interesting, and it's a bit broad. So I've been thinking quite a bit about specific use cases, and I was wondering if you want to touch upon those a little bit. I think that you are working with some already. Well, Paul's joined us.
Okay, so applications. Okay. Because I just waving there. Okay, so applications. When you're developing AI model, and you need, just build a model which is accurate and you want to do faster. So your biggest pain is data. Data, once more data. Okay, so when you think about, okay, so where I have data, I know you want to do something with this to make it more useful. So the first what came through your mind is RAG, graph RAG, fine tuning. So this like 3 areas. So this is something where you definitely need something which is, let's say, perfectly structured. So you want your text not to be anymore just text. You want something which has context. So just to repeat: RAG, graph RAG, fine tuning.
Super cool. And I want to ask follow-up questions, but I think we should introduce Orbit 8's Paul's Urbans, who just popped in. And Orbit 8 is a solution to the very difficult and challenging life question of what should I do with my life? Is that correct, Paul? Oh, we can't hear you.
Yeah, you're on mute.
Yeah, it's like, who am I? Where I'm coming from? Where I'm going?
Exactly. So it's a solution for finding the right fit with your talents and natural abilities in terms of finding work and a job. And you are connecting with parents and with universities and also individuals if they want to go that route. So it's quite flexible. And I think that was very interesting that you are targeting this question through these different channels, because typically those are the places where people look for support in these decisions. So how have you found interacting with all these different people, do you think that there's like a difference in the way that parents would approach this issue or respond to you, and the way that a university, I don't know what they're called, the university HR people would respond to you versus
Yeah.
if it's a person themselves? Because I felt like what I wanted to do was a bit different from what my parents would say. So would that affect how the model performs, basically, is my question.
Yeah, you're quite correct. It's a big challenge to understand on which customer or user persona we should focus. We've been trying a lot across schools and universities and colleges and career consultants and parents and kids. So through our early stage, we tested all of them. Some of them came back more positive than others. Some are more easily to approach. We finalized our approach, and our MVP that we're building currently is mostly on a parent-kids interaction, where the kids at the age of 15, 16, 17 years old, they really have to, together with parents, they have to take the decision. They have this big thing to do, to decide which school to go, which course, which programs or faculty should we focus on, how to sort all out this mess in the heads, both kids and parents. Like I'm good at this, but I like this. I'm passionate about this. I'm this kind of person. So how to sort this out? So that's a really specific job to be done, as we're calling it. And this is something initially, maybe once in your life, what you have to go through to decide how to align all your talents, personalities, and passions and interests. But then later on, this is where the AI comes in, when already when our model and our platform already has some initial information about the user. Then the tricky part is, how can we train language models so that they can interact with users based on their individual profile. So once, and we've tried this a lot and tried really hard, so that AI can actually have a context of that person. So when we're talking about individualization of education or learning or career, you still need some deep knowledge of that person, and then you can start building individualization. Most of the people think they know what they want, but we've figured out that maybe it's relevant or it's true for 10-15% of the population. Most of the people, they don't have a clue what to do with their career, especially the young people.
I mean, that's very true and relatable, I think, for many people. So it's super
Where
helpful.
were you? Where were you when I needed you?
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
So, boys, like you said, sometimes there might be conflicting needs between the end user, I'm assuming a student in your case, and between the parents who want their children to do something else. How does your product handle these kind of conflicts? And, we can't be biased anywhere. We just like want the best for them.
Yes, so I think the approach should be that you can never promise more that you can do. So if we can promise that we can give you a general direction without telling, okay, this is the final answer, like 42 or something, then it's easier to communicate and separate it. So we don't want to overpromise. We are telling, okay, we are giving you a very sophisticated and very world-class personality and talent assessment tool, but you still have to take the decision. You have to make your own. As long as you are not overpromising, I think you're safe. So I hope it does answer. I hope this is what you meant.
Yeah.
I have actually another question for Smavler. I think it's so. I'm just gonna be very like blunt and authentic about this. I think it's so cute how you guys interact with each other and the kind of team that you have built. And I believe there was a point where you said that you had known each other for like a very long time or something. Are you like school friends or?
Yes, we know each other since high school.
It was since high school. That's what I thought that I had heard in one of them.
Do not ask when when it was. Do not ask.
Yes, let's not leave it to you. But yeah, basically we know each other. We attended the same high school, and later on our obviously our lives went to different directions, and then for some strange but very fortunate reason, we met up again, and because of that, we are where we are, and there is Smuggler. But yes, there is a
long story. Long story.
Cool.
So
So
how
are you
did
finding?
Smuggler? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So how did Smuggler happen?
I think it was it was one of those stories when when you have this idea and you think it's brilliant and you want to conquer the world, and then you that there is no way to do this because you are missing some kind of technologies and so on and so on. So and it was our story because we wanted to build some kind of solution. There was no tech, so we thought, okay, let's do this, and we start, let's say, building our tech. And we had no idea, really. We had no idea, what is, ahead of us. We had no idea that it will take so long time. But anyway, yeah, because, of this, we, instead of building, let's say, our initial initiative, we decided to build a tech. So we are now like, a company. So, yeah.
I can also maybe tie that up to the previous question that you had, that yes, we're very different, at the same time very complementary. So Anga basically from day one was a freelancer / entrepreneur, and I think you worked in a corporate environment for a whole month in your lifetime. I think, something like that. And I, on the other hand, I spent a decade in a corporate environment, going through different, let's say, positions, going from data engineering.
But fortunately, you are safe.
Yes.
You are safe.
Yes, because I was ending my corporate adventure with internal audits. You can imagine how wonderfully creative and fun that was. But fortunately, I was, let's say, quickly teleported and sucked into a different life, which is much more rewarding and creating, something, as a team, as and you see it grow and you see the potential and you see.
So you mean startup life?
Yes.
Recommended.
Yeah,
recommended.
Cool. So I think that I do want to ask one of these like kind of businessy questions, if that's okay. Maybe it's a little bit boring, but I can't help myself. So maybe we can start with Paul's and then we can go to Smuggler for the same question. So if you had to pitch your startup in one sentence to a non-technical family member, how would you explain what you do?
Paul, you're on mute.
Sorry. I would say we are your personal, lifelong career counselor, available 24/7.
Amazing. Smuggler?
Let's try.
We help you build smarter AI.
That's what I wanted to say.
Wow.
Yes. But if it's then
One sentence.
Yes,
It's
but
one-
you have to say artificial intelligence because not grandma would not understand you.
We lost them.
Smarter AI.
Perfect.
Smarter AI,
Yes.
So, Paul, how did Orbit 8 happen? I did read about your Mars mission. I'm excited to hear more about your journey.
Well, our journey was quite exciting. It started when when I was a small kid dreaming to become an astronaut. But and I was always told that no, this is not for you. You will never become one. And then 2 years ago, I was actually part of astronaut selection program at European Space Agency, and I made it to top 10% out of 20,000 people who applied, and I had a chance to go through very, very detailed tachometric testing where they test you everything inside out, what you are as a person. And that got me excited that maybe this kind of approach on an easier terms would be valuable for young children. My previous 15 years of experience has been in education, and I know how much parents and young children and and young people struggle with understanding where to go. So my first reaction was I should approach a former head of astronaut selection from European Space Agency, and surprisingly to me, he got carried away about this idea. So then we started mailing back and forth and invited him to Latvia. He came to Latvia. He drank a lot of beer, and then we decided to build a company.
Wow.
That's a short version, but that's how we actually got together. Maybe a little bit of me being persistent and asking and trying to connect with people and not being afraid to ask stupid questions. And it turned out very well. We spent over 1 year actually doing a lot of research together with Dr. Frank Denesi. He's from Germany, University of Mannheim. A professor there has been for 30 years involved in selecting top of the top people from space sector. So he knows everything inside out of how to select good people and how to find, how to understand where to apply talents and personality traits. So we worked over a year together to actually build a model that's simple enough and understandable enough for young people to give them some meaningful advice. So that's how we started.
So speaking of advice, one of the key things in the lablabNEXT program and the accelerator is this component of mentor matching and speaking to a lot of experts from tech and business, as Nate mentioned in the introduction. So Smabler first, and then Orbit 8, same question. Have you received very tough advice, and how did you face it? So I heard earlier some mention of you are open to pivoting, you adapt. So have you had to pivot or adapt during the program in any way based on feedback?
Yes, I mean, first of all, I wanted to thank that we are in these programs because there's really a lot of awesome mentors there. So we try to utilize as much as possible. And one of the toughest problems we had was with the messaging because, okay, when you're a really deep tech startup, you're creating your own graph language model. I've been working on it for some years, then it's sometimes hard to get out from this tech mindset, this engineering mindset, and be able to, like you mentioned, describe what you're doing in a couple of few words understood by everyone. So I think this helped us a lot to, first of all, identify which way we should, let's say, put out the messaging to. So identify the ISP, identify the proper USB, identify all those acronyms that you require as a startup to be able to quickly start and basically understand and which point should we talk about the tech and which point we should not talk about the tech because it might scare someone if we go too deep into it, how sophisticated it may be.
One thing from my perspective, so I think where is the real power of this acceleration, this LabLab accelerator is networking, because it's nothing like that someone tell you, okay, this is your mentor and you need to spend time with this person the whole time, and this is your the source of advisory. So it's nothing like this. It's like you can pick up the right mentor. You can, you can check, you can discuss, and this is the same, for the mentors. They can just decide, to reach you or not. And it's, you need to be really committed, okay? But, joining the acceleration, this is, what is expected, okay? So you are committed to, to talk to people, to business networking. And I think this is, this is amazing because it allows us to interact with with many people, to know a lot of ideas, a lot of thoughts. You have a lot of interactions. So I think for me the biggest value of this from this acceleration, okay, maybe two things. Okay, so the one thing is it's like this community, okay, and the community of AI builders, AI enthusiasts, and so on. And the second thing is this networking. Because I think it's amazing. This is how how you build business. This is how reach people. This is how you, let's say, evaluate growth and learn. So yeah.
Rich people. I love that. Pulse from Orbit 8. Have you had tough feedback from a mentor, and how did you adapt or pivot? Did you have to adjust anything so far?
Yeah, we had the pivoting moments in our history. we started early on trying to understand where our product market fit is. So as I've mentioned earlier, we were talking with parents, with young kids, with schools, with universities. For us, the first biggest feedback was from universities when we first tested with one university, and I saw how they can not only help their students also get some valuable data and analytics on the bigger, let's say, set of users. They said, okay, we want this. So for us, it was like, yes, university, this is where we should go. And we spent a lot of time trying to approach other universities with the same problem set and the same user story, and we failed. So at some point we had to decide. So where do we focus? Should we focus on selling to universities, seeing universities, then being young people as our users, or should we sell to parents? And we actually had to take a very difficult decision that we would hire external person, and for a startup to hire someone who you should admit is smarter than you in this area is like really tough. So we actually hired some great mentor who helped us to organize a small discussion with all our stakeholders and founders. And then we actually realized, yes, that we should focus primarily on parents and use the schools and universities as our channel to get more users. But so that was a pivoting moment for us in terms of our journey. But in terms of LabLab AI mentorship, I think the biggest value was really, as mentioned earlier, is that you have people who are always ready to come in with some suggestions, connect you with other people. That's the biggest value for us. And I've had already, and I'm leaving this week for San Francisco, and thanks to your mentors, I've had some really good suggestions with people I should meet. So that's more than money can buy.
That's amazing. So nice to hear. Actually, the two of you, actually, your teams have been particularly active in terms of reaching out to mentors and connecting and networking. So it's great. And I think that if there's kind of like a role model behavior that like any startups anywhere could take, it's really this like take advantage of like these opportunities. It's the people you know that really makes a difference. Would you agree, or do you think that there is something else that really accelerates you to the next level?
Whose turn is it, or
You can go first. Yeah.
I think, yeah. So
For me, it's like this.
I think I agree with everything that we already talked about. Okay, there are lots of opportunities at LabLab, right? So I think it would be shameful if we don't take this opportunity. I mean, as a startup founder, your whole idea is to take utilizing opportunities in a business opportunity. Your startup is an opportunity. If you meet people, it's always you have to be able to utilize this and want to do it. So if you can't access something through the door, you go through the window. It's like this saying, and you always have to find a way, right? And I think here with the different experts, mentors, so from business, from tech, from every side, when you exchange ideas, exchange thoughts, there's always something new that pops up, and a new idea that perhaps we can do something better, differently, or do something that we didn't think about previously when we talk about the different challenges that we have. So highly recommend it. Use it. Yes, if there's an opportunity, use it.
Yeah, it's funny. I think, Roxana, this is a very deep question, because one thing we've realized at Orbitate, and we've been lucky with really good team that we've built. We are 6 people now and growing. One thing that might sound controversial is that modern startups, it's not so much about this classical find your product market fit. The markets are so saturated, and every possible customer are already so busy with their existing problems that it's so difficult to get through existing clutter of offers and partnership proposals. It's just so much crowded. So instead of that, we realized that we have to do a lot of networking. So you have to find people who also get passionate about our idea, and then they can suggest you to some other people who can suggest you and recommend you to your potential customer. So it's not just going out with advertisements and saying and asking potential customers what is your problem, what is your need, and it's really like finding people who are also passionate about what you are doing, and then they have their own connections and they can connect you to other people. And this is what I see with lablabAI. You start talking to one mentor, he suggests to other people and then other, and then it's like, and then you don't know who suggested who at the end.
Like graph. It's like a graph.
Lots of nodes and edges, yes.
So because we spoke about team and connections here, as a startup, was it difficult or easy to form your teams, or how did this? How did you form your team, basically?
For us, it was a process. It was a process, and it required, some time. We start, let's say, at the beginning, it was like, both of us. Then very quickly, a very smart engineer, and then 3-4 years, that's the three of us. Okay, and then the next person joined, and now we are, more than 10 people team. So still not so big, but I think that our stage, still very, very early. It's quite nice, but yeah, it was a journey. What was also important, but I think it's let's say nothing new for other teams as well. But we start working, fully remotely. And we started our work before, let's say, COVID happened, and then we were working this way. So for us, let's say there was nothing like big transition. We just we just work in this way all the time. But yeah, it also requires the building the team. But you can build a team, but then you can, let's say, take care of this team. So I think there is no big thing to build a team. To gather people, to hire people. The biggest thing is, to keep the people together and, have these people engaged and, have these people that, really care about what they're doing, the startup in the company. So I think this is the most important thing here.
You have to be very selective, I guess, because when you start out, you're bootstrapping, you're counting you count every coin throughout the whole lifetime of the startup. But obviously, when you have your own money, because you don't suddenly wake up one day and say, okay, I'm going to do a startup, and someone gives you $1 billion to work. It's rare.
It happens.
It happens, yes, but not too often. And so you have to be very frugal, and you have to get as much forward with the startup, with the idea and the tech and the internal POCs as far as you can. By bootstrapping, right? You have to validate your idea and then come out with this to other partners, other team members, etc.
Yeah, so on our side, we had another funny story is so first I connected with, as I mentioned earlier, the former head of astronaut selection and head of human resource department at European Space Agency, and then we started brainstorming, and then I realized I need a very strong partner from the business side, and the best and strongest business partners are always your competitors. So I approached my former competitor in edtech field and I said, hey, there's something big that is beyond just our small market in Latvia. We can do something more global. Let's put hands together. So that's how I got my third investor. From that guy, I got my CTO and COO, and then together in one AI hackathon, we noticed one very, very strange guy who couldn't really speak much, and he was shy, and everybody thought he's a little bit different. And we said, okay, this different is there's something like unique in that. And then the guy, we approached him and said, do you want to join our team? And he said yes. And we asked him, what is kind of your education and where you study? And then 2 months later, he said, I actually have to confess, I don't study anywhere. I'm just learned everything myself, and I've lied you that I'm studying at this university, but I actually don't study. And I say, yes, that's our guy. Oh yeah, that.
I see how important it is to, take in team members, and most important, how you trust them and how you can delegate whatever you're doing amongst yourselves so that the entire team is one and not echo different voices.
All right. I will jump in here because we are running out of time. I also want to say it's super funny to see you more in action, or I'm glad to see you more in action. I was with you a bit in before the program. Now I've been mostly on the backside, so really happy to hear your thoughts on all of this. A lot of good insights, I want to say. And I also want to say thank you to Roxana and Sovjenia for hosting this interview with Orbit 8 and Smabler. And in 2 weeks, we will have the fifth episode of this What's Next interviews with the new startups from our program and potentially some hackathon winners. We will see. But until then, I wish everyone good luck. Keep fighting. And for everyone who's watching, keep fighting, keep looking for teammates, keep hacking, and come up with prototypes that will one day change the world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Cool. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.